Hey YouTube, my name's Scott. I go by NoiseCastle3. I'm a music producer in Los Angeles, California. I'm going to be doing some instructional and exploratory videos on modular sequencing. I'll describe more of what that exactly means as we get more into it. So here we go. First of all, cats are very important to the whole. So first of all, I'm going to introduce the software that I'm going to be using for this. What I use is a virtual modular called Voltage by Cherry Audio. The reason I chose this over a lot of the other options is because it was very simple to do MIDI out. And the reason you want, or at least I want MIDI out on one of these, is so that I can actually use other VST synthesizers for the tone generation. Traditionally, modulars are often used for the quality of the tones you get, but that's not kind of my main interest because there's a lot of other really good software synthesizers. So what the fuck are you doing? What I'm doing, the fuck, is a sequencer. Let's try that again. A sequencer in the modular world is usually a set of buttons, or it's a sequence of notes that are set to a voltage level that play in sequence. And you turn the knobs for each one. So maybe it starts out going boop, 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 boop. That's 8. And then you turn some of the knobs, turn one of them up, turn one of them down. Boop, 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 boop. That's your basic sequencer. And the way that they normally work is you'll get ones that, you can play them backwards and forwards. You can loop them. You can speed them up. That's kind of your typical like Tangerine Dream style modular sequencer. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is something that might properly be referred to as analog computing. Boolean logic, or however the hell you say that. Using LFOs, quantizers, flip-flops, any logical circuit, switching, addressable switching, multiplexing, demultiplexing, in order to take the ideas of modular synthesis and apply them to sequencing. So you can basically have logical operations. I'm sure someone will come and correct me and tell me all these resources that I'm missing, but especially a couple years ago when I was first doing this on the Nord G2, I couldn't find anything about it. There was like 2 guys that were doing this type of stuff. So anyway, here we go. I'll try to describe a basic patch now. Okay, so the first basic patch is just an LFO through a quantizer. Not too much different from your basic arpeggiator. Here's what it sounds like. All the CV to MIDI is just kind of how you make this stuff work. And it's not too important for actually what we're talking about. I mean, it's extremely important for actually making it work. Like, you have to know how this stuff works in order to do that. But once you get that kind of stuff working together, you can get into the meat of it. And the meat of it is this LFO and this quantizer. Sounds like this. Now, right, basic arpeggio, like nothing crazy. You can see it's triggering. These 5 notes are lit up here, basically a pentatonic scale. You can change these. Now, the thing that's cool about this, the thing that makes this more flexible is the fact that it's in a modular setting. So you can go in and, like, this is attached to the pitch CV. So if I play it on my keyboard here, I can go. Pretty neat.
Hey. Hello. Hello.
So that's your basic first patch. And now comes what I like to think is the fun part. Thinking of things and making the ideas a little bit cooler to where they're, hopefully kind of useful for music. I mean, that's a trick because you're taking some very intellectual ideas. I mean, I know I haven't gotten to those yet, but trust me, guys, we're gonna get there. It's gonna be important. I swear to God. What I used to do is just take a walk every day and think about ideas in modular sequencing because I thought it was really cool. the philosophy behind it was kind of like, I'm not as good of an improviser as I'd like to be. I'm not like John Coltrane or Eric Dolphy or whoever might be your favorite instrumentalist. I was never that great at it. I've known these fucking insane musicians in my life. I worked with some of them, and they have the ability to process so much more information than I can. And so I wanted to, when I got into synthesis, I was like, oh my God, I can take this, kind of clone myself into the computer, code my preferences in order to make it do things that I wish that I could do quicker. So like that arpeggiator, there's no way that I can make my fingers go and play all those notes that fast. So instead, make the computer do it, right? So basically for our next patch, like I'm gonna go and think with my big head and try to make that LFO quantizer idea a little more interesting and musical to reflect more of my taste as a composer and as a producer and instrumentalist and whatnot. What's for breakfast? It's going to be garbanzo beans and eggs and hot sauce. I'm very into hot sauce. Phase 2. While the garbanzo beans are cooking, I'm just going to go through and show you another little piece of how I think I can make this cooler. So here you see a sample and hold. Now what that's going to do is literally sample the output of whatever this quantizer is doing and then freeze that and send it to the MIDI. So here when you play one note, basically it's taking one of those 5 notes, whatever the LFO is triggering at that time, and sending it to the MIDI. Breakfast is over, and I've assembled a patch. It's probably a little more complicated than it used to be, but anyway, let's just dive right in and show you what's going on. So you'll see here what I've done. Yeah, just take it all in, guys. All right. It has the same structure as before. LFO leading to the quantizer, and then the sample and hold sampling where that goes. So that's that. And then this other layer here is literally just the same thing, so it has a 2-note polyphony. Now, one thing I've done in addition to that is set up some automatic sample mangling stuff. You see CC25 going to this file position here, and you can see it slowly moving. If I turn this knob, that's going to change a lot quicker. I'll turn it back down. Jumping around a lot, right? And this other one, that's MIDI CC29, and it's going to this grain over here. You see if I turn it up, it starts jumping around like crazy. Basically influences the length of the grain, so you hear that. And we could try to do that with a more, like a mellower patch like this. Anyway, I don't know, that'd be potentially interesting for me to try to get some sound design out of, just take like those normal little tonal things and feed them into this. By the way, this is the Granulator 2. It's an onboard Max for Live synthesizer. So anyway, I think that's enough for right now. And thank you very much. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I'll be doing more of these. If you like it, hit like. If you want to subscribe because you like it that fucking much, then subscribe. and I'll see you next time.